With sustainability into our procurement activities, we have several ways. For example, we begin by having a whole strategy on procurement, which we include sustainability on it as well. What we also do is every supplier that we have to work with, they need to be embedded in our code of conduct, which is part of contractual agreement with suppliers. We do this, we enforce this with our suppliers. We also provide some incentives for them. For example, for our supplier management activities, sustainability is part of it. Circularity is part of it. From sourcing, from onboarding to still sourcing, we try to put much more emphasis on how do we call ESG into our procurement activities. These are some of the few ones. Also, we do have something like incentives, for example, financial incentives and non-financial incentives. For example, we are going to work with more suppliers who are helping us much more sustainability practice in our supply chain. So these are some of the things that we do to enforce circularity into our procurement activities with our suppliers. When in our company, we have what we call the Supplier Sustainability Management Program. So at the beginning of the year or throughout the year, we try to engage our suppliers so much to give us sustainability-driven innovation solutions. For example, I personally send letters to the suppliers every time of the year to ask for more input on different topics. Also, when we have issues on technical topics, I communicate to my team so that we can also invite suppliers to come for workshops, technology days, so that we can sit down together, dive into the problem that we have to solve. On Free the Sea, the most beautiful part of Free the Sea is the community is our supplier. So what do? We engage the community, especially in Indonesia island called Batam, to help us get these recycled, I would say, plastic bottles to use in our manufacturing processes. We provide incentives, for example, like financial incentives for the people. We provide what we also call, let's say, gift vouchers, scholarship to people. We make huge impact. We prevent plastic from going into the ocean. As well, we provide social impact for livelihood for the people in Batam. So with these things, we try as much as possible to drive sustainability innovative solutions into our processes in WIK. There are a couple of impacts, I would say, a lot of them, but one thing that originates with me because of our supply chain. We have a huge supply chain, and social topics are very important to us. No child labor, no forced labor, environmental impacts are very important to us. For me, I check something what I call the social life of the people. For example, no child labor, no forced labor. For us, one also important aspect is every part of our supply chain, every supplier should comply to environmental standards. Pollution, we don't deal with pollution. Make sure also if you are using a lot of water in your processes, make sure that you understand the risk of where you are getting your waters from. So these are one of the two, I would say, KPIs that applies to every supplier in our supply chain. For KPIs, as I already mentioned, there are a lot of KPIs that we do, but also we spend a lot of time on one specific KPI to impact the people. We want to have what we call regenerative impact, something that can go on from time to time. So one KPI we do is supplier training and capacity building. We spend so much time to build the capacity of our suppliers. So for example, I remember last year or last 2 years, we have done more than about 100 supplier training, different companies. Let them understand why we do this. This is one of the important KPI for us when it comes to sustainability. And also, for example, transparency. Transparency is also one important part of us. We have developed tools in our company for transparency. We need to know not only where our product is being manufactured, but we also need to have what we call tangible data. We work with our suppliers on transparency issues. We have tools that we call the ePro tool that we have developed ourselves internally. I think we spend a lot of time building this tool. For us, suppliers understand what they are giving us, and we also try to let suppliers understand what we are getting from them. So this is one way. We also use some of the tools that we say the SAP tool as well for transparencies in our procurement activity with our suppliers. One major challenge is data quality. You have a huge supply chain, you have tier 1 suppliers, tier 2 suppliers. To be able to measure your impact, you need data. And data quality is one of the challenges. How do we solve this? We let suppliers understand the why we are doing this. If you give us wrong data, it might be difficult to manage you. So we work with you, let them understand the quality of data. We do more trainings. We provide extra trainings. I don't know, I cannot tell you how many hours of trainings we have provided. Now, this is one big challenge. And also, I would say sustainability is also a big challenge in the sense that the knowledge gap is huge. So working with the huge supply chain for global suppliers, you need to have a standard to measure all suppliers. So for example, Southeast Asian standard is quite different from European standard. Also Chinese mainland standard is quite different. So we need to be able to let people understand which standard we are using. For me and for our company, we go with the global standard, but also looking at your local and your jurisdiction standard. So if there is a gap, we try as much as possible to close that gap. And this is one huge challenge to deal with global suppliers when it comes to sustainability, I would say. Technology attuned to nature is one of our, I think it's one of our important mottos that we have in WIK. We are not just producing for today, we are producing for tomorrow. The same way, we want to have an impact for today and tomorrow. So everything that we do, we just don't look just for the cost when it comes to procurement. We go much more on value creation. What is value creation to us? Putting smile on people's face where we do our sourcing, how we align our procurement activities to make sure to make impact for the future, how we have a strategy of our procurement to make impact for the future. With this, technology comes into a lot of play. How do we engineer our materials? Who do you work with? What kind of new technology? For example, we are learning how to find new materials with new capabilities, and this thing is possible through technology. The same way, if we have to do refurbishing of our product, recycling of our product, we need to be able to dismantle. We need these kind of technologies to do that. One of our plants, that's one of our things that we are working currently is having, refurbishment for our future products. So we are looking into how to have a refurbishment line and how to construct this. And these are all part of technology that are tuned to nature for our management processes. Where I come from Ghana, West Africa. I grew up knowing how pollution feels like. To me, I always say to people, I shouldn't be part of the company producing things polluting the environment. So when I'm able to take some pollution out of the environment, I get happy. The same way when I bring a smile to a child's face, I get happy. There was one time I went to one company, I was doing this kind of work, and then I spoke to a lady and she told me she's happy to talk to me because somebody can hear her. These things make me happy. It makes me smile. It makes me know that my CEO, Christoph, and the whole team of WIK is doing good things. These are one of the benefits that I think WIK and my team stands more on this. And it brings a smile to my face. Thank you.